The draft lottery is finally over. Your Portland Trail Blazers have moved up to the third pick in the 2023 NBA draft, and that creates a lot of storylines as we head into the next month. With the way this draft lottery played out, it has created one intriguing dynamic that will affect the Portland Trail Blazers offseason. With the Spurs being one, we know they'll take Victor Wembanyama. But the draft really starts at 2 with the Charlotte Hornets, and that could have major consequences for who's on this Portland Trail Blazers roster next season. I'll get into why, but first, let me thank our sponsor for this video, Manta Sleep. Are you tired of restless nights and disrupted sleep? Do you long for the soothing embrace of darkness and comfort? Look no further. Introducing Manta Sleep, your ultimate companion for a perfect night's sleep. Manta Sleep, the innovative sleep mask that revolutionizes the way you experience your sleep. Crafted with meticulous attention to detail, Manta Sleep is designed to provide you with unparalleled comfort, darkness, and an uninterrupted slumber. As we head into the hot summer months, a cooling mask might be right up your alley. Instead of feeling like you're in a sauna at night, you can wear it and stay cool. You could also try the Manta Sound Mask, which has built-in Bluetooth speakers. There's a bunch of different types of masks over at mantasleep.com. There's a link in the description box below, and if you use the promo code Uprise, you can receive a 10% discount. Thank you to Manta Sleep for sponsoring this video. Now, the Charlotte Hornets are an interesting team to have the second pick in this year's NBA draft because Scoot Henderson has been the consensus number 2 player on most people's big boards. However, with LaMelo Ball there in Charlotte, Scoot Henderson might not make a ton of sense from a fit standpoint. Now, I've always said that you don't draft for need in the top 3 to 5 picks or so, and even from pick 6 to 10, it's a little bit iffy. Normally, you want to take the best player available. However, that might not be the case for the Charlotte Hornets with Brandon Miller on the board, and some people have made the case that Brandon Miller is just as good of a prospect as Scoot Henderson. Hornets GM Mitch Kupchak had some interesting comments after the draft lottery. He said, quote, 2 years ago, I would have said without question that we would have taken the best player available. And that's been our position for the last 3 or 4 years when you're trying to accumulate talent. And I don't think we're where we need to be from a talent level, but we've got a lot more talent now than we did 2 or 3 years ago. So I think we can be a little bit picky and take into consideration not just the overall talent, but also the position. This hints that even if Charlotte thinks that Scoot Henderson is the more talented player, they may elect to take Brandon Miller, who's a more seamless fit in that Charlotte Hornets lineup next to LaMelo Ball. I don't think Scoot Henderson and LaMelo Ball would be an awful fit by any means, but both of them are point guards, both of them are better with the ball in their hands, and Brandon Miller's 3-point shooting as well as his secondary playmaking ability next to LaMelo Ball would definitely be a better team fit. Now for me, I'm a little lower on Brandon Miller than most other people. I think he'll be a good NBA player, but I'm not sold on his upside. But the main reason why I, as a Portland Trail Blazer fan, would want the Charlotte Hornets to select Brandon Miller with the second overall draft pick is it could greatly increase the trade value of the Portland Trail Blazers number 3 pick. I think there's franchises out there that would love to get Scoot Henderson on their team. I think there's franchises that have Scoot Henderson as the clear-cut number 2 player in this draft, and should Scoot Henderson be available with the 3rd overall pick, all it does is increase the trade value of said pick. Now, Portland will likely trade this 3rd overall pick. The question remains as to what they could potentially be after and what they could get back. There's names that have been floated out. Joel Embiid, if we're dreaming big, Jaylen Brown, Mikal Bridges, etc. And it'll be easier to potentially snag one of those trade targets if Scoot Henderson is on the board at 3. Now, for a Jaylen Brown trade, you're likely looking at a 3-team trade where the 3rd pick would go to a 3rd team that could give up a good player to the Celtics for Jaylen Brown coming to Portland. Maybe that's Toronto with Pascal Siakam, for example. So in terms of trade scenarios, there are hypotheticals in which a team heavily values that 3rd pick, but Portland isn't necessarily getting back their win-now piece from that specific team. It just takes maybe 1 or 2 teams really wanting Scoot Henderson to make this pick super valuable for the Portland Trail Blazers in terms of making a win-now trade happen. Should Brandon Miller be there, I think it's a little bit more likely that Portland uses the draft pick and drafts Brandon Miller, but if they still elected to trade it, I think it would have a little less value. Teams trading into the top of the draft normally want to go after upside, and I think it's clear that Scoot Henderson has higher upside than Brandon Miller. I think that's why he's been the number 2 player on most people's boards, and I think that's why the 3rd pick would have more value with him left on it. But it all hinges upon what the Charlotte Hornets decide to do at number 2. Do they draft for need? Do they draft for fit? Do they think that Brandon Miller is as good of a prospect as Scoot Henderson, and maybe that makes the decision easy for them? It's really hard to say right now. We'll get more of a feel as we head up to the NBA draft in a little more than a month as to what the Charlotte Hornets might do. We'll hear rumors about who they're interested in and maybe which way they're leaning. And those rumors are super relevant for the Portland Trail Blazers because their entire offseason might depend on it. Once again, thank you to Manta Sleep Mask for sponsoring this video. Remember that link in the description with the promo code Uprise for 10% off. And I'm out of here. I'll catch you in another video later today. Until then, as always, peace out. Go Blazers.